The only way that we can find a lasting solution to any problem in life is to come at that problem looking for solutions based in love, not based in fear.
Love is a strategy.
Hello and welcome to Love as a Strategy, a podcast that brings humanity to the workplace. We're here to talk about all things business, but we want to tackle topics that most business leaders shy away from. We believe that humanity and love should be at the center of every successful business. I am your host, Jeff Ma, and as always, I'm here to have conversations with real people, with real stories, real business, real life. And I'm super excited about my guest today. Randy Lyman has spent 4 decades proving that you don't have to choose between logic and empathy to win in business. He's a physicist, a multi-time founder, and an absolute authority on service-based leadership. And whether it's scaling eight-figure companies or writing his latest hit book, The Third Element, Randy's mission is helping leaders find clarity through emotional awareness. Randy, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show. I can't wait for this chat. How are you?
Thank you, Jeff. Great to be here with you.
I know a lot of people on this show don't watch the video, but go check out the video. Randy looks amazing. He's wearing he's wearing like a denim shirt and cowboy hat in an amazing room with more hats in the back. If you like hats, come check it out. But Randy, uh, question I ask all my guests to start with here is, what is your passion and how did you find it?
My passion is helping people find their own path to a better life by realizing they're in charge of their own reality. I like riding dirt bikes too, but I can't do that all day long. So what I can do, what I really enjoying doing is connecting with people. And I wouldn't have said that even like 15 years ago. I was always a recluse, but now that I've put myself out there in the world and I continue to work through my own personal growth and my own personal healing, then I just find more and more wonderful people out there in the world who are just not sure what they can do to improve their life. And that's my goal, is to help them find a way to success, both in their career and financially and their health and any way they can. I want people to have a wonderful experience here on this amazing planet.
I love it. I love that positivity. And um, I haven't had a chance to, I know you have an incredible story behind how you got to this place. And I wanted to give you some space to share as much as you're willing to start us off here in this conversation around that work that you do and the passion you have for it.
Sure. So if you go back to 36 years ago, at the age of 28, I was all left brain. I'm going to be as smart as I can and work as hard as I can, and I'm going to shut off my emotions so I can get more done. And I had multiple $1 million businesses at that point in time, but I wasn't as successful as I could have been, and I definitely wasn't fulfilled. And then I met a woman that I spent 3 years with, and Maria, who I talk about in the book, my book, The Third Element. She helped me see the unseen, spiritual, more humane side of life, meaning we're all spiritual beings on a human path. And when we embrace our emotions, it's a little messy at times, but when we embrace our emotions, then we find a deeper part of ourselves. And then when we find that deeper part of ourselves, we're able to connect with others at a deeper level, whether it's our family and friends or whether it's the people that we're leading. Now, we don't have to be best buddies with everybody, but when we look at people and say, wow, here's a fellow human being who's doing the best they can so they can succeed and take care of their family, and I'm going to be here to help them, and I truly care, and our whole world changes.
I obviously agree and love everything you said. Um, but I also feel like um, that type of message may feel alien to a lot of people in the business world, if you will, and to
So can I
numerous
talk a
people.
little bit about my challenges 30 years ago when I started incorporating this?
Absolutely, please.
I was afraid that if I was not tough and I wasn't the smartest guy in the room, that I would lose people's respect. And as I worked through more of my personal issues and my personal growth, I decided to take a risk. I had multiple businesses. So I took a small group of 7 people in one department. And I said, we're going to do group planning and group decision making. And I made a few mistakes along the way, but I learned a lot from it and was able to expand from there. Now, if I'm a VP in a large company or small company or an entrepreneur, I don't have the luxury of taking risks on something new and unproven. So now if I show up and I'm vulnerable and I'm telling people I don't know all the answers and I'm asking for help and I don't know how to teach people how to make decisions, how am I going to do group decision making unless I teach people how to make those decisions? Well, I already made all those mistakes. And yeah, they were scary, but I was kind of crazy as a risk taker. And because I was able to take those risks in smaller groups, I made the mistakes, I learned from them, and I realized that the investment I was making in a different way of leadership paid off really well. So I worked on listening to a whole nother level than most people talk about. I realized that there's three things that matter more to people than money. One is acknowledging them for who they are, taking the time to say hi, remember their name, ask them a question, come back to them 3 days or 3 weeks later and say, hey, how's your daughter's soccer game going? Or whatever it might be. I don't have to know everybody that way, but to show up in a way that I care. First thing, acknowledgement. Second thing, people need to feel like they're contributing to the cause because a lot of people's life feels meaningless, especially today. So now what happens when at work they feel I truly help them feel they're contributing and they're acknowledged and they're praised and they're part of the group that's celebrating. Now all of a sudden work is the most important part of their life. Imagine how much more they're going to give. And then the third thing is people need to feel like they belong. They need to feel like they are accepted for who they are and they belong. It's different than acknowledgement, but it's important. So as I incorporated these things into my leadership style and into the processes and programs that we built, then we had a lot more success. We attracted better people to work with. Our teams were more effective. They were happier. And it took a huge load off of me managing. Now it's a big investment up front, but in the end, people knew how to make decisions and how to disagree from a place that was civil and they could still get along disagreeing. So these are the kind of tactics that I incorporated into my leadership style that led to the great success that I was able to share because of the people I worked with.
Mm. And you talked about listening at a level more than most. I forgot how you phrased it. Can you dive in a little bit on that, like what that looks like or what you mean when you're listening in that way?
Well, I'm still learning that one myself, but really what it's about is I'll call it the pregnant pause. So when somebody else is talking, most of us, myself included, I'm making up a story on how I'm going to respond. I'm not really listening to them and they feel that and they don't feel heard. So I have to realize that I can be patient. The answer will be there. I can respond later, but I need to give that person my full attention. And then when they're finished, I pause. And if they don't respond, I ask them, is there anything else you'd like to say? And I have to bite my tongue and I have to give them the space to unload and say everything they want to say. And say, well, is there anything else? What's your opinion? What other ideas do you have?
Mm.
And once they start talking and they know I'm listening, then the entire dynamic changes between them and me. And now it's not about me remembering the exact right thing to tell them. It's about once they feel that I've listened to them and I've heard them, now they're ready to listen to me. And I don't have to deliver the perfect message. And now that they know I've taken the time to listen to them, and whether I parrot back a few words or I ask them deeper questions and they feel heard, they know I'm on their side. And so I tell leaders, okay, think about the different employees, the team members you have, your leadership group, whoever it is. You have some favorites there who listen to you more than others. Do you like working with them? Oh, yeah. Okay, well, now reverse that. Imagine if our team members looked at us and said, oh, yeah, my leader, whoever that is, my leader really cares about me and I'm going to give them more attention than I give anybody else I'm interacting with in life. So we give the people who favor us our attention. And when we favor the people we lead, they give us their attention.
Mm. Makes a lot of sense. I think when I think of your kind of equation for what matters to people and having it all center around this acknowledgement and contribution and belonging, I feel like I don't know, I feel like there's a part of that equation that's, I don't know, missing, but I wouldn't say missing. I would say I'm imagining like a relationship here that maybe isn't articulated yet. Like, can you talk a little bit about that environment that must exist in order for these things to be practiced properly?
First, I have to put my ego aside, and I have to be willing to admit my mistakes, and I have to be willing to ask for help, and I have to be willing to be vulnerable. And when I'm in a position where I can be vulnerable, vulnerability means I'm not perfect. I need help. You guys are here. Let's work together on this. I'm not just the strong leader who shows up macho. And whether I'm a man or woman, I'm not just the one who shows up to take charge. I am now a fellow human being. And when they see I'm calm and confident in that place of vulnerability, they think, holy cow, this person must really be strong in order to be this vulnerable. And they look at me with a lot more respect when I'm not trying to earn their respect. I'm just trying to be human and connect with them. And that calm and confidence that I bring creates calm and confidence from the team members who I lead.
Makes perfect sense. And um, the third element, I don't know if it's like the title, I have not connected yet, but can you talk about what the third element is and why that title matters?
I love that question. So everything in the universe falls into one of three categories: our mind and our thoughts and information. Second one, our physical body and the physical world we live in. And then third, our emotions. And so the third element for me is emotions. That's the most important. And the reason that emotions are important is because whatever emotional wounds we have in the past, whether it's something small or it's something large, it stores. It's bigger than time and space. We see a situation, our mind makes up a story, we have an emotional reaction, and there's hormones and energy goes through our body. And if we don't feel that emotion completely in the moment, which is appropriate guidance in the moment, and we hang on to that, that energy stored. It's bigger than time and space. It's like storing gasoline in a metal can. I can burn it off 10 years later and it'll still burn. The energy's still there, but once I burn it, it's gone. And so in order to burn off this old emotional energy, we can't do it with our mind. Our mind is never in the present moment. Emotions have to come through our body, and our body only exists in the present moment. I don't feel my body from yesterday or tomorrow. I feel it today. So emotions, bigger than time and space. I'm aware of my physical body. I'm ready to feel that emotion in a time and space that's safe for me. Work through that completely, not touch on it. I mean, dive into it, embrace the pain. Sometimes even as a grown man, I'll get to a place of tears, and I'm okay with that. I'm human. I release that emotional wound, and now I show up more calm. And I'm a big believer in the law of attraction because I'm a physicist, and quantum physics talks about how matter is not matter. It's energy that gets called into action to play the part of matter when it's observed and when it's necessary. The double slit experiment from 1927 talks about this. Werner Heisenberg in 1927, not related, even though it's the same year. Uncertainty principle talks about this. And so the law of attraction, as it's building our life based on our actions, of course. If I'm moving my hand, it's moving, that's manifesting. If I have a thought, it can create a change in how people react to me and relationships and such. And my emotions are going to attract chaos into my life or irritations into my life so that I have the gift of being reminded of an opportunity to heal an old wound, an old irritation. But if I don't make the connection between, oh, I have this problem here today and I have this wound and this opportunity to heal from the past, I try and change the outside world. And I don't know about you, but I've never really been able to change anybody. I can only change myself. So when the book is all about the logic that has worked for me and sharing my story and giving people an idea of, hey, this makes some sense. I think I'm going to be willing to look at my own emotional healing and I'm going to give it a try. And then in chapter 7, I have 14 different exercises people can do to start to experiment with this. And this is truly where my success has come from, is from my emotional growth and my different approach to management.
Mm. I'm curious when it comes to this emotional third element, do you see it as kind of like a prerequisite to getting clarity and work done in the other spaces? Is it something that if it's blocking or if it's in the way, is it something we need to address um, separately or urgently in that way, or is it more mixed into the entire equation?
I think it's mixed in the entire equation for me. And I think for most people, when we're younger, emotional wounds that I believe our soul chooses, I believe in reincarnation, our soul chooses, oh, I'm going to have this emotional wound. For me, they drove me to success. I wanted to overachieve so I could get my family's approval. My dad and I had this conversation last night. And so they drove me to a place of success, but then they got in the way, and I had to start looking at healing those wounds before I could go to the next level of success. And I've been on this personal journey for 36 years. I hope I'm halfway through. It's ongoing. We're human. There's always something to work on. But the only way that we can find a lasting solution to any problem in life is to come at that problem looking for solutions based in love, not based in fear, not based in ego, but based in caring, service to others, service to our own self at a deeper level, and in a way of giving and finding love in the situation. That's how we find lasting solutions. Now, I still have to set boundaries. Sometimes I still have to terminate team members. Sometimes we have disciplinary action. Those things happen, but I do those from a place of love. I do those from a place of caring. I do those with the goal that I'm going to help this person who's having these challenges improve. And that's the difference between the way I managed 40 years ago and the way I manage today.
I noticed that in my experience and in talking with people that the emotional side is all, I mean, it's a part of the equation for sure. But I think people struggle to, the reason I asked that previous question is because I think people struggle to juggle and balance that because it feels so separate. It's something that people sometimes leave out of the equation intentionally to protect themselves, and they leave it at the door. You have your work self and your home self. You've seen all that. So I guess my question is around, you know, how do you address these fears? I think there's a fear that you can over index on emotion. People get uncomfortable when you're in a work environment and you move towards the emotions, even though they're always there and there's personal feelings, and we intentionally and unintentionally hurt each other all the time. And yet there's this taboo around stepping into that emotional space with colleagues and work. Like, what is your take on that? Is that what you've seen, and how do you address that?
So first of all, we don't have many good role models. We don't have many good examples, but I learned something long ago. I was very fortunate, just the things I've learned that I've stumbled across. And one was when I become comfortable with whatever topic I'm talking about or presenting or interacting with, whether it's about somebody I have to give disciplinary action to, if I feel any internal shame, then that seeps into our conversation. If I'm uncomfortable with my own emotions or around other people's emotions, then if I move towards an emotional space or interaction, my own energy around that, my own being uncomfortable, I don't know the right word right now, it spills into that. And so people mirror back to me where I am. If I'm calm and confident, I can talk about anything. I've fired a lot of people in my life, and I've had 7 different people hug me as I fired them and say, thank you for what you've helped me understand and what you've learned, and for being considerate in the way you're doing this. And that's because I became comfortable with myself and with the really uncomfortable topic. So we work through these things first on our own, and then we can practice with family members. We can practice with friends and neighbors. And as I became more comfortable dealing with conflict and expressing the truth to people, hey, you're not doing such a great job here, but let's find a solution. When I became comfortable, they became comfortable. And I know I said that word comfortable many times over, but that's really what it comes down to: is the world around us is always going to mirror back a part of ourselves.
It's one of my favorite words, or pair of words, is comfort and discomfort, and what it means to people. I often use the analogy of the bison or the buffalo. Have you heard this one? in
In the
the in,
storm,
in the
absolutely.
storm?
They want
It,
to they want to embrace the storm, and they get through it quicker. And somehow they know that. And the cows that go with the wind, they're in the storm longer. So I also learned that the things that I don't want to do, I got to do them sooner or later. And I learned this from a high school shop coach. He says, do the toughest things first, because then everything else seems easier. and and in life, I just realized I have to do this sooner or later. And we're never given any challenge bigger than we're ready to conquer, to make it through. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. But and again, when we turn to love, okay, I care about the people I'm working with. How do I find a solution that serves them? It's a lot easier to find a solution when we go looking for a solution from a place of caring. When we go looking at a solution and say, wow, I got my own ego in the way and I need to look at myself first, then we find real solutions.
Randy, I feel like you just summarized my book like in 20 minutes. So I got to go rewrite everything in a way that's because I mean, you said it better almost. So literally everything you said, I'm completely on the hook for because it is exactly how I feel, but you've done an amazing job of putting into some very potent and succinct lessons for the listener here. So really appreciate that take and that perspective, and you nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. I think you covered everything on my list in terms of
Well,
what
Jeff, I
it
think that
takes.
the answer is universal. When we look at everything from a place of love, you're going to find the same answers as I do, and somebody else will as well. They're universal, they're powerful, and we just haven't been bold enough to try those in the past. And not all of us have been bold enough to try them. And sometimes I'm pushed to a place where I forget. Slow down, Randy. Look at yourself and remember to love.
Powerful. I love that. And before we run out of time here, I'd love for you to just say a little bit more about the book and help the readers appreciate or the listeners appreciate and find out how they can get involved or connect it with you.
So my book, The Third Element, is available through major online booksellers. It's available also links through my website, randylyman.com. I have a lot of free offers for people there. This is not about making money for me. This is about helping people. So if they go to my website, you can connect with me on social media and the book and free offers. And this book is about helping people understand why they would want to look at their emotions and then how to start looking at their emotions. Everybody has a different path for healing and growth, but nobody really wants to go down a tunnel unless they see light at the end of the tunnel. And I shared my story so that people could say, wow, Randy's a logical, successful guy. But when he addressed his emotions from a logical perspective and a systematic point of view, which I outline in the book, he found success. And maybe I can find more success and fulfillment in life as well.
Perfect. Randy, thank you so much for your time today. It's been truly powerful and empowering. So I really appreciate you being here. And this is going to do it for this episode. And I appreciate everybody for listening in. As always, please check out Love is a Business Strategy, Love is a Change Strategy on shelves and in stores. And if you haven't yet, leave a review, send me a note. I love the feedback and we keep that conversation going. So, with that, thank you so much to everybody. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Take care.
You made that really easy. I might have talked too much, but you made it easy with your questions.
Your name is in the episode. So, there's no such thing as talking too much. You could
So
fill up
I
the
have not
entire
read your I have not read
Yeah,
your
go ahead.
book.
And I wouldn't have expected you to, but yeah, everything you're saying is like almost entirely, just the exact things we talk about, but in some cases exactly how we talk about it in other ways from your own angle, which is awesome as well. So you're absolutely right. I think it's a very universal approach, but I feel very, very aligned with all the ways you've described all these things and what matters to people. And even when I asked for more, you went into all the other spaces and vulnerability. And we have six main pillars in our primary framework. And it's like trust, empowerment, forgiveness, vulnerability. Uh, and I'm blanking right now because my head is done recording. But you covered all of them. I was literally like, oh yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I'm glad.
perfect,
I'm really glad.
perfect, perfect.
I'm happy to be able to be here with you and to help share the message so other people can turn to love.
No, it was wonderful. I really appreciate it. Um, yeah, I will be in touch with you on like when this posts, or if you need anything from me in the meantime, or if you have something you want to coincide this episode to market with, happy to kind of discuss how that can support you best as well. If
So
you need any, yeah,
we'll reach out to you if we can get access to the raw footage as well. That would be helpful. And then when you actually release this, then we'll repost and tag and share and comment. So we'll help you promote your show. We're happy to be a part of it and happy to help you find more success.
appreciate that. Well, this was great. Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom, and congratulations on the book. And yeah, we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you, Jeff.
Bye, Randy.
Bye.
Love is a strategy.